Hello everybody, it's me Ryan here, or MandRproductions, and welcome back to another, top 15 video this time, and this is the top 15 best LEGO Star Wars remakes, guys. Of course, I did the top 10 worst LEGO Star Wars remakes about a week ago, and now we're taking a look at the best ones. So, if you guys do enjoy the video, leave a like on it. If you have any type of complaint about my video, or if you have a different set that you think is a better remake, let me know in the comments section below. I'm sure some of you guys have differing opinions from me, and subscribe if you're new to the channel. Let's go ahead and get started with number 15. We got a lot to cover. Starting out at number 15, we have the Naboo Starfighter, whose original model was released in 1999 for 20 bucks, which wasn't a bad price, but it's pretty rough looking. I mean, the overall design of it is really brick built. Obviously, that's what the other model is going to be, but there's just a lot more sharp edges to it as opposed to the nice curves of the model that was released in 2007 for only $30, which included a Vulture Droid. So those of you are going to say that the UCS model should be the upgrade. No, the UCS models do not count as a remake of a system size set, so just so you know, going on through this list. So I mean, the change from one set to another in this is pretty huge. You see the different uses of different pieces. I mean, it's basically a complete model overhaul. They didn't really borrow much from the old model when they made the new model, and this new model is pretty much the same thing that we've gotten like 2 more times since, back in 2011. And then again in 2015, we got pretty much the same thing as this one from 2007, just a little bit upgraded. So let's move on to number 14. At number 14, we're looking at another set from 1999. It's the Sith Infiltrator. This thing is really blocky, really rough looking, and then came 2007. We saw a very nice new model with some nice and sexy curves. This is probably my favorite Sith Infiltrator. I have the other ones, or I've had the other ones, and they're all kind of huge and blocky as well. I feel like the studs don't look great, but this Sith Infiltrator with all the tile look to it looks really awesome, especially compared to the original one. I mean, the original one just looks so rough in my opinion, and you get this one that has such nice curves. It's got that very nice printed plate on top, which is a huge bonus compared to the old one, which really had nothing going for it there. At number 13, I've chosen the General Grievous Wheel Bike. The original one released in 2005 and was essentially made of 2 printed pieces. You can see here in the picture it came with Obi-Wan and his animal, and man, that thing looked really cool. I actually really like those printed pieces because they were able to spin very easily as you rolled General Grievous's wheel bike along. However, the new version that was released 9 years later in 2014 looks so much better. You get so much more detail, especially in the area where General Grievous is piloting the ship. You get even a little control panel with printed pieces on it, which is really awesome. Of course, the minifigure upgrades are a nice bonus, but we're really looking at the overall design of the set, not the minifigures, and the set itself is awesome. It's got flick fire missiles added onto the side. It's got some orange cones inverted on the side there too for guns, and this thing just looks really awesome. It does spin really good too. I have both these, and I really like this newer one. I think it's a great model. At number 12, I've chosen the Snowspeeder. The original Snowspeeder was released in a light gray with dark gray color scheme, and I was really not a big fan of that. It was pretty blocky, especially right in the front of the cockpit there. You can see it has that printed piece with the, headlights or whatever that's supposed to be ventilation area, but the new one had this brand new piece that really rounded out the front of the ship really nicely. I felt like the wings were a little bit better shaped. They had a nice shaping to them that really contoured to the center cockpit area of the Snowspeeder, as well as the cockpit area in general was much improved. You can see there's basically like a giant hole in this original one, and then of course you also get the little shooter in the back that has the tow cable, which is awesome as well. So the overall upgraded design was really nice. You didn't get a new cockpit piece, unfortunately. It was the same cockpit piece, maybe with like a slightly updated print, however not really noticeable. I also really like the new guns that they put on it. I think those were really nice as well. So a really nice Snowspeeder. Of course, the color scheme being the big upgrade here in my opinion. I really like the white, tan, and orange color scheme on this thing as opposed to the gray and orange color scheme on the old one. So definitely give props to the one from 2004 as opposed to the one from 1999. At number 11, I've chosen the Desert Skiff. We've seen quite a few variations of the Desert Skiff. Of course, we had the original version, and then we had one released in 2006 that came with Jabba's sail barge that wasn't that much better than the original version, but it was slightly better, so I did throw it in here so that you guys knew. But the big upgrade comes from the 2006 Jabba's sail barge version when you go to the 2012 standalone version. You can see that it gets much larger, has a lot more detail, has a lot more functionality, and I really just like the larger version overall. I felt like the larger version just really represents the Desert Skiff much better. You're able to get much more playability out of it with all the figures on there and having them be able to actually fit as opposed to being really squished on the old ones. And man, it just looks so nice in that color scheme. I really like the new one. It's so much bigger, so much better, and I mean sometimes bigger is better, and this is definitely one of those cases. At number 10, I've chosen the Corporate Alliance Tank Droid. The original version was released in 2005 and also came with a Wookiee flyer as part of the Wookiee attack set for $30. And man, its colors were so far off, it's not even funny. It came in orange and blue, and in the movie, it's literally like just gray. Like I didn't understand why LEGO did this. Maybe they did this because they thought a gray model wouldn't sell well, or it would just look too bland and people wouldn't buy it because of that. And I can understand that. I mean, I like this classic, blue and orange model. I just don't understand how it happened that it was so far off in the color scheming. Of course, in 2009, we had an updated model with the correct color scheming. It was the Clone Wars version of the Corporate Alliance Tank Droid. However, the Episode 3 version is practically the same if you go back and watch the movie. And man, the Clone Wars version looks so much better with that color scheme. This is one of my favorite sets of all time, honestly. I remember getting these the first time, and it's just awesome. Had a couple of clone troopers with the jetpacks, and again, the minifigures aren't the focus of this. It's obviously the Corporate Alliance Tank Droid that we're looking at, but man, the new one looked nice. I really like the eyes on the new Corporate Alliance Tank Droid. I think they did a great job there, as well as the new printed piece they included on the side. Of course, the one that was included in 2005 was also exclusive to that set. However, the exclusive printed piece in 2009 just looked so much better and so much more detailed compared to the 2005 one, which was like transparent and just weird looking to me. The coloring was just so off, and that's why this one's at number 10. At number 9, I've chosen the Awing. The original model released in 2000 is really rough looking. It's got a lot of sharp cuts, and the contours of it just don't look all that great. It doesn't really fit the shape of the ship. I mean, obviously it does look like an A-Wing, however, the shaping is just so weird. Like, there's a lot of weird sharp edges, and of course the very front of the ship is the weirdest looking part of it to me. Its one bright spot for me is that it did include a couple of nice printed slopes on the front, right in front of the cockpit. However, the new version is just so much superior from 2006. After 6 years, LEGO had obviously released some newer pieces that really fit this ship well, and you can really tell it makes a difference. Going from that gray color scheme once again to white, much like with the Snowspeeder, you can see it makes a huge difference. They also used a darker red with the new one, which I think looks spectacular. The cockpit used a tinted piece instead of the completely clear piece, and I think the overall design change here is huge and wonderful. I think it looks awesome. I think they did a great job with the new version. You can see a couple of design elements left over from the old one, but it's mostly just a complete overhaul, especially in the front of the ship where the complete shaping of it has changed and it just looks awesome. At number 8, I've chosen the AT-ST from 2001, and much like all of the other early 2000 models that we've taken a look at, this one is again really blocky, and the coloring is just so weird looking. You get a lot of weird tan in there, you get a lot of odd and off brown colors in there, when it should really just be gray. I didn't understand why LEGO did this with some of these early models, but there's just a lot of off colors. You can see the feet look really weird, and overall it's just a really odd and off looking AT-ST. However, when LEGO re-released this set in 2007, they really upped the ante, and it looks spectacular. They added a lot of detail to the feet. The head is a lot better looking, a lot better shape to it. It's got much nicer guns on the side. You have a much more workable interior for your minifigure or minifigures, and then you also have a much nicer ability to spin that head with the little Technic bit in the back. So overall, the design change here was huge. I mean, obviously you're doubling the size essentially and also doubling the price, which was definitely warranted, as the new AT-ST looks spectacular. 6 years really does make a difference. At number 7, I've chosen the UCS XWing. It was originally released in the year 2000, which is crazy. That was so long ago now, almost 18 years. And man, it has changed a lot. It was actually released 13 years later in 2013, and with all the new pieces LEGO had created by then, it just looked so much better. There's a new windshield piece with the new print, which was really awesome. I really liked that. I think that really added a lot. However, the main bits were just small design changes and color changes. The original version, you could see green on it. You could see some odd tan colors just kind of mixed throughout it that didn't really fit. However, with the new version, it really did solidify and simplify the design. I felt like it was a little bit less all over the place, I guess, if you want to put it that way. The colors were a little bit more simplified. It was a little bit more sleek looking, a little bit more, straightforward as far as the design standpoint goes. So I really like this new X-Wing compared to the old one. It's a massive upgrade as far as UCS sets go. I really like the coloring on it so much better, and that's where you see a lot of these upgrades going, is the coloring. Obviously, the new pieces really add to the design, but getting that coloring right really does change a lot. And I felt like the new X-Wing just looks so much better from that standpoint. You can see around back the engines look spectacular, and we can guess that the old one did not quite look that good. So on to number 6, we have the Jabbas Palace, released in 2003, and man, does this one look rough. I mean, it roughly resembles Jabba's Palace. It's got Jabba the Hutt, right? It's Jabba's Palace. However, there isn't much of Jabba's Palace. It's more of just an open interior with, I guess they tried to put a roof on there with a couple of pieces which look really odd up there, but I mean, it it's Jabbas Palace, I guess, and then we moved to 2012, 9 years later, and man, did they change a lot. They actually made Jabbas Palace, not just where he sits and the underneath jail cell. I really, really liked the new Jabbas Palace. I think it's one of the best Lego sets of all time, honestly. Like, probably like top 20 Lego Star Wars sets. It's just so detailed, looks really great, has a lot of nice little features. Of course, the minifigures are great, but again, this isn't about the minifigures, it's about the actual set design, and man, did they up the ante with this one. They changed it completely. I mean, you wouldn't even know they were supposed to be the same thing, you know? I mean, they completely made the color scheme look amazing. It looks amazing from the exterior, and then you can flip it around and have this wonderful interior with great features and great details. So let's move on. Number 5, we have the Darth Vader transformation set. Originally released in 2005 for only $7, Lego finally decided to redo this one in 2017, over 12 years later, for $25. So you're looking at an $18 price increase, and it's 100% justified. You're getting so much more with this newer version. It's got this kind of octagonal design, so you have 8 different little sections where you can have things on, and there's just so many different little features this thing has that the original one doesn't. I mean, it's pretty obvious just looking at it that the original version didn't have much going on for it, but for its time, it was a pretty cool set for just $7. It was a pretty nice set to pick up, and it's had both figures. Of course, the new one has both figures, Darth Vader and Anakin Skywalker. However, you also get Emperor Palpatine, which is pretty nice as well. Again, the design of like the medical droid and everything is just so much better compared to the original. It's just no contest. At number 4, I've chosen the TIE Fighter set from 2005, and then, of course, the newer version coming in 2012, just completely knocking it out of the water. I mean, the original version had this cool, nostalgic blue color, and I always wondered why they made it in blue, but it just looked so weird, and, I mean, it's kind of cool now that we can look back on it, but it just didn't make much sense to me. When LEGO re-released this thing in 2012 for $55, I was a little bit thrown off by that price. I mean, that's a $35 price increase. However, it is completely justified. This new model is so much better than the original 2005 version that I just can't even get my mind around it. I mean, the upgrade in color scheme alone makes it worth it, and then you get this brand new wing design which looks absolutely amazing, that has the pieces wrapping around the wing instead of like attached to it to create that design of the wing. Just looks amazing. It's really cool that they were actually able to get that shape down really close to what an actual TIE Fighter wing looks like. I mean, I just absolutely love it. The wings do connect really well to the center of the body, and then of course the cockpit looks amazing. And at number 3, I've chosen the UCS Millennium Falcon. This thing is an amazing set. Of course, the original one was the best LEGO Star Wars set to a lot of people, and might still be their favorite LEGO Star Wars set just because of nostalgia. However, when LEGO finally got around to remaking this one this year in 2017, 10 years after the original, I think it's pretty clear that we have a nice upgrade. I mean, the new version just has a very superior cockpit piece. The original version just used a brick-built cockpit. This one has a completely new mold for the cockpit piece. It's got a very cool print on there. It just looks absolutely stellar. They completely upped the ante with all the extra little details on top of the ship. There's just so many different things going on with this new one. The design of it from a technical perspective is mostly the same, obviously, but the details on it are so much better. The color scheme is pretty much the same. You have a little bit more going on with the newer version as far as the colors on it go. However, I think the overall design is just absolutely amazing, and having built this new one, I can confirm that it is just a stellar model. Huge shout out to brickhello.com for these awesome comparison pictures. And at number 2, I've chosen the MTT, and man, the original MTT did not look good. It's pretty rough looking. I mean, it's got green. Like, what happened? How did there get to be green on the exterior of an MTT, which is predominantly brown? I don't know, but it looks so weird. I mean, it just doesn't look good. It uses that old TIE Fighter cockpit piece in the very front there, and the shaping of it is so off and odd looking, and everything just looks so off as far as proportion and scale goes. However, LEGO decided to remake this one. Thank God. For as bad as episode 1 was, this is one of the cooler ships to come out of it. In 2007, when LEGO remade this, I was just absolutely ecstatic for this set. I still remember getting this thing and being so excited. This is the 2007 MTT, and it just looks absolutely amazing. I mean, the coloring is so much better. The shaping of it is just as good as it gets. I mean, unless you made it a UCS set, this is pretty damn accurate. I love the way it looks. I love its features. You can roll out the battle droids with a little twisty Technic bit down in that black area below the cockpit area, and you twist it, and then all the battle droids come out of the front. Like, it opens up automatically. It's awesome. You have this back area where you can fit battle droids in, and the little extra battle droid speeder that they include, and man, it's just absolutely stellar. It's a great upgraded design. It's one of the best jumps from original to the next version that I've ever seen. I mean, this is just the best MTT Lego could have ever made, I think. And obviously, as I said in my previous video, top 10 worst remakes, the next version of the MTT wasn't all that great, especially when you have such a great model. It's hard to one-up that, especially if you are downsizing it. And now for the moment you've all been waiting for, the #1 LEGO Star Wars remake of all time, it's the Millennium Falcon. Obviously, I already did the UCS Millennium Falcon, so this is the regular size Millennium Falcon, I guess. This is like the $100 type size. And the original version was released in 2000, and man, does it look rough. Is it hot in here? Man, that thing looks awful. Not gonna lie. If you look at the front of that cockpit, it's just, there's like red on the front of the cockpit. Like, it just, the color is so, like, what were they thinking? You know what I mean? Even this prototype design that we've seen released probably looked better than the one that they actually ended up releasing. I don't know. It's kind of hard. They both look terrible, to be honest. However, in 2004, when LEGO remade this Millennium Falcon, it was for the better. And man, does the new one look good. It had that new cockpit printed piece specifically for the Millennium Falcon, and it used this new design that had the wraparound type thing where you had the fold out to get the interior, and they have kept that design ever since. I mean, that is one of the best design changes LEGO has ever made, going from those terrible looking big giant ugly printed pieces to these awesome looking panels that could flip out and you could get into the interior so easily. I really like that, and obviously it's a great design because LEGO has kept it for years. They've actually had 2 more Millennium Falcon models with pretty much the same design, obviously just upgraded slightly year over year every time they do it. However, I mean, they've kept the same general design, which means this was a great upgrade for a reason. I mean, it's obviously has staying power. It's really awesome looking. I think this one really does stand up to even the newest Millennium Falcon from The Force Awakens. It's that close as far as the design is. I think it's really awesome, and I really love that design change going from 2000 to 2004. I mean, that's only 4 years. You would think it wouldn't be that big of a change, but God, this is one of the more drastic changes you could ever see. And that is going to do it, guys. That is my top 15 best LEGO Star Wars remakes. If you guys have any opinions you want to share down below, please do not be afraid to comment. I will be reading and replying to you guys. I'm interested what your guys' #1 best remake is, because obviously the Millennium Falcon that I chose might not be your best or favorite remake ever, so definitely let me know in the comment section below. And if you guys enjoyed the video, give it a like, subscribe to the channel if you're new here, and I'll see you on the next one. Check out one of these 2 videos on the screen if you haven't seen them yet. Peace out.